Nice. All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. There's no ding because I turned that off. But we're live, so it's Wednesday evening. Time for some YATS. I kind of want to know more about getting paid to post videos on Instagram. What's up with that, Chris?
You need to play the music first. We don't have an intro. Where's our
Oh,
intro?
yeah, we don't. We also, things have changed in the last year since you've last been with us.
It hasn't been a year.
No, I know.
It's been pretty damn close.
I'm just messing. But Google
you have
does
to
the
start
Spike
singing.
intro because
Brace
it's
yourself.
by somebody else, so we kind of just start the show, and then I put the intro in for the podcast, and it doesn't get taken down on YouTube.
Exactly.
All right, so, hey, what's up, guys? It's Wednesday, May 21st, 2014. This is episode 96 of YATS. Every week, Wednesday night, right here, yetanothertechshow.com. Check it out. I'm Matt Lee, joined by this guy right here, Ant Pruitt. What's up, Ant?
Mr. Lee, what's going on?
This guy right here, Mike Rothman. How's it going, Mike?
I am just peachy keen dandy. Glad to be back with you.
Nick Carroll from
Dandy.
AOTA joining us. What's up, Nick?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be back, guys. Thank you.
And also back from his trip around the world, Chris Miller, Spike Studio. What's up, Chris?
Hola, Ashamika. What other words should I use since it's around the world?
Well, hey, before we start off, tell
Howdy.
what have you been doing? What have you been up to? What have you been? You seen? What's the coolest thing you've seen since we've last seen you?
The coolest thing I've seen or that I use daily. There's a difference.
Both.
I hate to say it, what I'm using daily is this new tablet that came from Acer. I hate to say it, but I'm using this little Android tablet every day now. I don't know why. It's comfortable and easy to use, and that's probably most my everyday thing that I've been using the most.
Impressive.
Even more than the iPad. It's the new 830. Does everything well, so I like it. Smaller size, compact. The most impressive thing I've seen, man, I hate to
Besides
say
your Mac Pro.
it's probably some of them smartwatches, buddy. Probably some of them smartwatches.
I'm still not there yet on the
Do I need to be
smartwatch.
louder? By the way, Matt, do I need to be louder?
Just a little. Yeah, smartwatches. I don't know. Well, I'm curious what you like so much about that Acer tablet, besides the fact that it was free, or what's the?
No, actually, okay, most of my stuff is free. But the point is this one has been performing well, expandable slot. It's a standard Android tablet. There's no difference between them in terms of being Android, right? You're not getting anything extra on the Android. I think the point of it is that it's just been performing well. I haven't need to restart it. The cameras work well. You were ringing me on Hangouts, but I didn't answer on here. I like how everything's labeled, including the little slot markers. I don't know if you'll see it on the camera here, but they even label everything on there to tell you what everything's for. They just did a really nice job.
That's nice.
And it holds the battery really well. I haven't had any issues. It's not every day I'm charging it. It's every, couple days. So.
Mhm.
Hey, Chris, offhand, do you know if it's one of the Intel-based tablets, like the Bay Trail or Atom or whatever, or is it one of the other types of chipsets?
Actually, it's the updated. The 830 has the updated chip. Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was their new one. It's basically almost the same as their 810 model with a new processor.
Okay, cool.
And Acer doesn't have any theme UI stuff, right? That's just a vanilla Android. You said.
Vanilla Android, and I put my own little wallpaper in. Vanilla Android. It was great right out of the box. So
What's the street price, Chris?
under $200, 170.
Isn't that amazing?
Nice.
Yeah.
I know. Do you on AOTA we followed the tablets for a really long time, and I just remember when the Transformer Prime came out, and that was the first one I was really excited about, and it was almost $600 if you got the keyboard and all that stuff. Just the tablet was right under $500, and now the price has come down so much, and obviously the speeds and power have gotten increased, and it's been interesting to watch since we've just been doing these podcasts, kind of the evolution of it.
It is an Intel CPU, 1.6 gigahertz Clover Trail, 2 cores, 16 gig of ROM, 16 gig of RAM, 1024 by 768 with an expandable SD slot on the side. I'm actually looking at it live. There is an image on here that is Acer, but I haven't seen any bloatware from them. It came with some standard apps that I wouldn't have loaded, but they're not uncommon. I will say that.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
let's be
I'm-
clear. It's a media consumption machine. It's not a production machine.
Yeah, I would say that. I would definitely say it's consumption, and that's what I use it for. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right
Yeah.
on, Mike.
And playing games, you got to remember, It's got to be fast enough to play Half-Life 2 once the shield lets off.
Just don't use that stupid Stratus controller I just reviewed the other day. That thing's horrible.
No good? Thumbs down on the Stratus?
I gave it a double thumb down.
Nice.
And a middle finger.
The SteelSeries Stratus controller, it's really nice. It's small. I got it sitting right over here, but it was disappointing. Okay, we could talk gadgets all night, but it was disappointing. And as he drinks his 65-gallon drum,
sorry.
You got one of them Slurpee straws you can use with that thing?
I need one of those instead of carrying this jug around.
What do you drink? Like Mountain Dew or Surge? What is in that?
That is just good old H2O and then my milk. This might be the first podcast I have not had any whiskey or beer.
That's why he's all quiet. Look how shy he is when he's not been drinking.
What have you done with Aunt Pruitt?
Y'all catching me literally just minutes after my workout, and I gotta have some water and I gotta have milk, or I will totally pass out over here.
Well, hey, while we're talking about hardware, did you guys see the article on the New York Times personal tech blog? They're talking about Chromebooks and how basically the buyers in the world are ready for this kind of cloud-based experience. And we've kind of been talking about this, again throughout the episodes of the podcast. Are you guys kind of on board? I'm getting there. I don't have one yet, but like we said at the beginning of the show, it's kind of getting time to replace the Hangout machine, and a Chromebook might be what I need.
I don't know about you guys, but I could do it, but I don't want to do no $400 for one. I don't even want to do $350 for one.
I say under $2. It's got to be right around $2.
Yeah, for what I do, I don't think it's worth much more than that, and
Yeah.
they usually don't have the expensive CPUs in them to warrant that kind of money. So I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I've got one that I spent $200 on. This is the Acer 710 from about a year ago is when I bought it. And I spent $200 on it, and for me, I use it in large part for media consumption. I do some typing, some web browsing on it. So that's where a lot of the value is for it. But I wouldn't say it's on the same level, say like a Windows PC or a Mac PC.
Yeah.
But I mean, for something that's inexpensive and it's in a laptop form with a keyboard, it's not bad. It's not a bad investment in my opinion for a little amount of money. So.
Well, and think of it any more than that, and you can, unless you're Chris Miller rocking the $2,500, MacBook Pro, like you could almost get a full-fledged PC at that point if you spend an extra like $100 or $200. So they have to, it's got to stay right around $200, $250 for a high-end one, I think.
Oh yeah, this is not the MacBook Pro. Yeah, it's just the Mac.
Oh, my bad. Okay, well, never mind.
The Tower of Steel.
Right.
It's serious competition for the Windows world. The newer generation of what Nick has is the Acer 720 Chromebook, and it's that Molly is writing about in the New York Times. It's a very functional, very slick, nice offering with most, not all, but most of what anybody's going to want to do on a laptop these days. So whether you're in the classroom, as a student, or whether you're out in the field somewhere or in an office setting, it can get a lot of work done for you. And at $200, Microsoft just released their new, bigger model of the Surface computer. Very sweet-looking machine, but with prices that once you sort of fully configure the thing are well over $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of not a contest here.
But their launch was beautiful. Okay, never mind. They did a good job on their launch.
High points for the launch. We'll give them that.
If only I could take the launch and run podcast software on it, I'd be. They say, according to the market research company MPD, up to 25% of all the low-cost laptops sold in the U.S. are Chromebooks. They've overtaken Apple's MacBooks for number 2 in laptop sales, and Google said they had been deployed in nearly 10,000 schools in the U.S. And that definitely boosted their share, right? Like giving them to schools and flooding the market that way.
Right. Because if you ever go out, do you really see a bunch of Chromebooks laying around, or do you see MacBooks and Airs and some PCs laying, laptops laying around?
Honestly, I see a lot of tablets. out in the wild. I don't really see laptops unless it's a business type of individual, like at the coffee shop. But most of the like just everyday people, it's all tablets.
Out in the wild, you're seeing what's been sold over the last 2 and 3 and 4 years, and that's mostly MacBooks and PCs. But Google and Intel have announced that between now and back to school September, there are something like 20 new Chromebooks coming out from Asus, Lenovo, Toshiba, Acer. You know, that's a hot market. So, meantime, how many hot new Windows PC laptops are coming out? Not many.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was going to say,
saturated from the Windows side, you know.
Yeah, and you're seeing some companies like Sony, you know, they're selling off their bio division. You're seeing the PC industry, you know, it's fiercely competitive, and they've sort of reached this. They've won the race to the bottom essentially, and now they're trying to figure out what to do after the race. So you're seeing some companies not do as well. HP hasn't been doing so well as a PC manufacturer. You know, they're trying to diversify into other things. So you know, these Chromebooks are actually a new bit of tech compared to the next generation of a Windows Ultrabook or the next, you know, MacBook that comes out. So there's some interest with Chrome and Chrome OS and the Chromebooks, simply because they're new and different and they're relatively inexpensive and they can do a fair amount. And it used to be the argument against them a couple years ago would be, well, they're just a web browser. Well, now you can get almost anything online. There's Office, you can get online. No doubt Skype is going to come at some point where you can actually use Skype on your Chromebook, and you're finding more and more functionality. You know, Chrome OS now has a UI that looks like a desktop now, and you know, so you're kind of seeing that. Plus, with all these other companies trying to make more money making these Chromebooks, because they're sort of at a dead end with the Windows-based notebooks and Ultrabooks. That's kind of why you're seeing more presence from the Chromebooks.
Well, that's what I was going to ask is, do you really think we're not seeing more of those out in the wild outside of schools is because you've got to have connectivity for them to be useful. And you just don't always have that connectivity. So people aren't flocking to those in the general world because what am I going to do with the darn thing? They need more offline capabilities.
So
Yeah,
if they feel that, if they can become more of like not an ISP per se, but more of a force in that area, and just start making them come with all that, so you don't, as a consumer of a Chromebook, you don't have to worry about it.
Because they're trying not to bloat it, right? They're trying not to bloat it. They don't want it heavy. They want it to be lightweight, cheap. Don't need all that installed.
But you can throw a 3G antenna, an LTE antenna in it, and not bloat it up. You know, I'm just thinking as far as making connectivity self-contained within it.
Right. Who's going to provide the service for that, right? So are they going to do what an Apple did with Kindle?
Yeah,
That's when the bloat comes.
WhisperNet. Well, no, like WhisperNet with Kindle. You get free service with the Kindles. You know, can they build that into a Chromebook? I'm sure they could, but it's going to increase that price.
Well, one thing they're trying to do to combat that is they're trying to build more offline apps to where if you are disconnected, you can still save files locally, you know, view files locally, you know, work different apps locally. But ultimately, you know, Google is of course still trying to push the cloud. But one of the advantages you have, like with Chrome OS, it's like literally 1/60th the amount of file space required for the operating system compared to like Windows. So that's why you can have a 16 gig, you know, SSD for a Chromebook, and you still have, you know, 12 gigs free, whereas you pretty much need a 64 gig Windows, you know, notebook or SSD in your Windows notebook or PC or whatever at a minimum, just to have the OS on there and just enough space for like the recovery partition and stuff. So there are strengths and weaknesses to like Chrome OS and the Chromebooks and stuff like that. The real challenge for Google is going to be with the Chrome boxes, because that side of the industry hasn't really had progress until I would say this last year. Like if the only Chrome boxes they had last year were like the Samsung Chrome box, and it didn't really sell well. But now Acer and HP and these other companies are trying to come out with their own Chrome boxes, like a dedicated PC, you know, but it's a Chrome PC. So we'll see how that goes as far as that getting more market share. But Chromebooks have had a lot more success than Chrome boxes. So.
Didn't the OS just recently get an update, Nick?
Yeah, they still do the updates every 6 to 8 weeks. I'm not sure everything that's in the recent update, but they're trying to make it more like a regular desktop PC, you know, over time, basically. So.
You know, Mike, you talked about that Surface Pro and the cost of it. It's pretty damn expensive, but it's bigger and it's got more capabilities than such as a Chromebook and a tablet and whatnot. it's damn near like another laptop in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think it warrants that price.
I get that. I actually own a Surface Pro 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I absolutely love the device. It is a sweet device. It has all the power of a big, substantial PC. You know, the configuration I have is 256 gig SSD and 8 gigabytes of memory. And you can just do anything on it, and yet you can slip the keyboard off, and it's a great little tablet. So I would love, you know, if I had $1,200-1,300 burning a hole in my pocket, I'd love to buy one of those Surface Pro 3s.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things they're doing with the Surface Pro 3 is they have 3 different models: the i3, the i5, and the i7. You know, Core i3, etc. And so today, as far as I understand, or whenever they go on sale, you can at least buy the i3 and the i5 version. But if you get the i3 version, it's towards the order of like $700 for a Surface with an i3, probably 4 gigs of RAM, and I'm not sure what the SSD side is. But you can go on the low end of the Surface Pro 3. Yeah, okay. You can go on the low end of a Surface Pro 3 and get an i3, and that's still more than enough computing power for a mobile device. So that's not too expensive for that.
Yeah, they do have those lower price points, and you know, there's also this: the components are really primo components. The screen is great, the touch controls work beautifully,
The pen.
you know, everything about it works really well. That's not going to be the case on a $200 Chromebook with a cheap chintzy touchpad and a clickety clackety keyboard, and you know.
The screen.
The screen. The component quality makes a big difference. And I mean, on the one hand, I love that quality build. On the other hand, I've got some serious negotiating to do within the household to spend $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200, whereas I can sort of slip $200 under the radar. Know what I'm saying? Anyone here relate?
Yes, said like a married man.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, I could see those things in the enterprise really, really soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they just popped up on our doorsteps at our office for our field representatives and sales guys, because they're light and can do everything they need to do that a laptop would, you know.
It is all of that. It's if your sales force or your executives haven't made the jump yet to the high-end MacBook Pro, you know, and been bought into that ecosystem, this is the device that'll capture them.
I agree.
I don't know that Microsoft is going to recapture that MacBook Pro market, though. I think if you make the move there, you're probably not going to move back to the Surface.
Well, that's an investment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then going back the other way, that's also an equal, you know, not quite equal, but it's still anything over $1,000. Like, that's pretty, like you said, that's pretty hefty.
Yeah, and once you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's pretty sticky. You know, they've thought of lots of ways to lock you into their environment.
I think I got out just in time because I did have the old school iPod and was using iTunes and everything, and then like Android came out and I was like, this looks interesting, and then
that was my trajectory too. But you know, we're geeks.
We're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys see this article on Recode about Google being the winner of this game? I didn't even know we were playing this game, but there's a game apparently of all the consumer cloud companies, right? Like who wants all your data, right? If you're like us, you probably have a little bit of data everywhere, or the same data everywhere, right?
Of course.
Redundant. But yeah, they're saying because of Drive, like this is it. Google's pretty much won it here. Drive being only 2 years old, they say it has revolutionized the consumer and small business cloud beyond recognition. Would you agree with that, Aunt Pruitt? Beyond recognition.
Revolutionized it.
Well, when it came out 2 years ago, what was the competition for?
Dropbox, Box, and all the other cloud services, and Dropbox had a pretty good traction, you know.
Sure, but they were strictly storage. When Drive came out, it was like your docs, it was Sheets, it was everything. Now they're getting around to, and I finally actually just updated the app to where I have Drive, and then I also have docs, and I didn't use Sheets because I never used that on my phone, but you know, you had to get the separate app if you were going to edit documents. So now Drive is just your storage and your viewer, which is kind of how it should have been from the get-go, right? When they named it Drive instead of Docs, when that switch happened, it should have been the storage. But I get why they kept it all in there, to kind of be like, but look at all these other features, you know?
Well, I think they helped to drive the industry, and they sort of helped to make the cloud legit. Because I'll be honest, a couple years ago, I didn't give two bleeps about the cloud. I didn't put anything up there or store anything up there. Now, for the most part, if my computer were to go up in flames, I'm okay because I got a lot of my most important documents in the cloud, and it's done automatically. So I mean, that's the advantage now. I think people can see that. Yeah, unless the cloud goes up.
Right. It's a whole other ballgame then.
Yeah.
I'm still freaking out that Google Drive has only been out for 2 years. To me, it seems like it's been out there forever.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that you use every day if you do, you know, any kind of document stuff, I guess. I mean, we've been using it since we've been doing shows, and it's been like pretty much, I would say the tool that if I had to give up any of these tools we use, like that would not be one, because we use it so much. We're so dependent on it.
Yeah, I can't imagine operating an environment without cloud storage now.
Right. Also, right?
Yeah, it's just the way I work.
I'm using a small company called Proud now. It's the Pruitt cloud. I just store everything at Ant's house on his computers. Part of the reason he runs out of space. No, I actually use
for a small fee, my man.
That's what he thinks. He doesn't know all his USB hard drives are now filled. No, I'm actually using multiple providers. Dropbox is very funny about the way they give you space and then taketh away. Like when I got the HTC phone, they gave like 15 or 20 gig free when you got the phone. Well, now they're like, oh, it's expiring. Well, you've been uploading your pictures and syncing in your camera, and now Dropbox is like, it's expiring. Box will give you a 50. Copy.com, I'm up to almost a half a terabyte, I believe, in space on copy.com now of free space.
Because you've been sharing it through other folks, right? Because you share it to other folks and they open an account, you get more space, right?
Well, correct. So I've been rocking that. They start you at 15, but I'm almost up. I'm almost at half a terabyte.
That's a great model, though, if you think about it. Like, you want to go tell people, or you need to go tell. You may not want to, but you need to if you're running out of space.
Gotta have more gigs.
Like my link, just let me know, because you get 15 gig to start for free, and I get a couple more gig per person. So, but I'm spreading mine out, and what I've done, and a lot of people haven't thought about it, is I've actually now split between two services. One I use for basically personal stuff, photos and docs and personal stuff, and then the other one I use for people I share with. So I've actually isolated my own personal data. I don't intermingle in the same cloud service.
That's smart.
Not just for security, but for mental, I won't accidentally share a folder or something I shouldn't. So I've actually split between two cloud services now, and it works really well.
Plus, there's less damage if one service gets hacked. You don't lose all your data potentially.
Right. And if I want, I could mirror everything to a third that I never use for anything but backup. So I could mirror to another one.
I'm just looking here now at the latest prices. I can't, for some reason. Oh, here it is. The price on Google Drive has really dropped. You can get a terabyte of storage for $10 a month.
Yeah, that's sick.
It is sick.
I remember they released that. Was it about a month or so ago? They upgraded their prices. You know, it's nice for them to get all of these accolades and be all revolutionary and stuff. Why don't they fix their mobile app on Android? Still
go a step further.
Experience.
You go a step further. Let's say something happens. There is with Google, whereas paid with other ones, I think it's a little stronger. There is no good mechanism for you to call them for any type of restoration of your data. Whereas Dropbox has a good support mechanism built in. Google doesn't have that. They're too big.
You gotta send an email or hop on a Hangout, right? Can't you do that now? You can just hop on a Hangout and be like, hey, fix this.
And wait 2 days.
Actually, with Google, they've got it set up so that your Python script will talk to their Python script.
Right. And if you're lucky, a recursion won't happen, and you'll actually maybe get an answer.
What I don't much like about Google Drive is the web interface.
Really?
It just strikes me as not quite all there.
It does seem kind of crude, at least the web-based interface that I use. Yeah.
It's just a list of your crap. I mean, what do you want?
Very basic.
You can
thumbnail. A little more elegance.
Yeah, it's basic. It gets the job done. I'll give you that.
I think it's getting better. I mean, we can mention this now, I guess, that the Google Plus app for Android just got a big redesign with the big red bar, and a lot of people complain about it. I know a lot of people always complain about any kind of change on a service that they don't own, I guess. You know, like, how dare you change your stuff for me that I use? But I don't know. I can see this change happening, you know, more continuing to happen, and we'll see Drive get a redesign, I'm sure.
Hell, look what Skype did on Windows. They started running ads. Right? You've got any free service. I don't like the way Hangouts did our intro. We don't have our music. I don't like the way that Skype now has giant advertisements on Windows on the top of it. It doesn't have it on Mac yet, but it's free. I've stopped complaining.
The intro was more our choice so that we could get on YouTube on mobile, because it was still on there, but if you have third-party stuff, they won't let it be on mobile. So to get that portion, we had some listeners that were like, hey, I can't Chromecast you to my TV from my phone or whatever because it's not allowed on mobile. So for that reason, I decided we would just stop doing it live. It's still in the podcast if you listen at yetanothertechshow.com, but if you're looking on YouTube, you won't get the intro. But everything else.
Do we have a Roku channel? Do we have one? Do we have a Roku channel?
No.
There will be no.
We're on Stitcher.
Yeah, it's on Roku.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's call up a developer and get that app done.
Yeah.
It's not hard. All my TVs now have Roku. I'd love to be able to stream this one.
We're on Stitcher, and you can put Stitcher on Roku, can't you?
That's just audio, right? I want the video.
Right. Oh, you want this laggy video?
I want to see it going. And then, hearing his voice moments later.
It is. It's like watching it in Chinese with subtitles or something.
It's Godzilla!
Your father!
But I digress. Yeah, so the cloud thing, whatever. Yeah, people are using Google because it's there.
Everybody uses Gmail, right? They're saying in the article that Gmail was kind of their gateway drug. They got everybody into this the most amazing email service and great spam and phishing and all this protection. And then they're like, oh, and hey, by the way, now you all have Google Plus accounts.
Right.
And
now
by the way, you need to use those on your YouTube page now also, if you don't mind.
And now you got some tabs. We separate out stuff that's promotional for you now into tabs. We've built
I don't even see the promotional tab. I unchecked that box, like when it first came out.
There's stuff in there that I like that they consider promotional that I don't think is promotional. There's a couple things.
See, and that's what I said before. Huh? That's what I said before. Some things in there worked out all right for me.
And I could go in there at any point and just select all and get rid of it. So, I mean, I didn't uncheck it because I still want to see the stuff. I just ignore it more than anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could do that to your inbox if you wanted to, but people are anal about that,
Well, I mean, back to the storage thing. Even Flickr gives you a terabyte now for free. I mean, what do where
space
could you not go?
Right? The moral of the story is space has gotten way cheaper than when we used to buy 10 gigabyte drives for $300.
Can't you get a ridiculous in a micro SD now? Can't you get something like stupid large
128?
Oh yeah.
Yep. 128. Yeah.
And in your fingernail, you get 128 gig, and we're worried about where we're going to put stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Then of course washing one of those doesn't go over very well. But either way.
Right. And of course, to use all of this stuff in the cloud, you're going to need lots of bandwidth. Verizon, we talked a little bit about it, not last week, the week before on AOTA, about the XLTE going to be testing Verizon some new bigger bandwidth LTE, they say, in some areas. Now, article on CNET, they're going to be testing their mobile video at the Indy 500. Say that's a pretty good test bed. A few hundred people maybe go there and want to stream something.
So let me ask this. They give you better bandwidth.
Well, that's what they're supposed to be. XLTE will be a bigger throughput. Supposedly.
I'm with you. So bigger throughput, better bandwidth, better support, but no data cap raising. So
Hopefully.
burn your data faster.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? That's what everything's moving to with higher definition streaming.
Well, I think they want you to get to that data cap quicker. That's probably their plan.
Those bastards.
Cha-ching.
Well, you think about it. You've basically you're going to run your caps out on all your mobile stuff even faster, and mainly people nowadays with that shared, what do they call it, Framly and everything.
Yeah.
We
But
just
Chris, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say an anecdote. We just went over that. Like I have my unlimited, but Kelsey has a cap with the rest of our shared plan, and I get all the emails for the account, and it's like 6 days into the cycle, and she's at like over half of her data allowance already.
Oh man,
But it's
wow.
my fault because I showed her Google Play Music, and I showed her all this stuff that now is just taking up bandwidth. And
Somebody's been watching Netflix.
Yeah,
global
exactly.
dog training, so she's using her maps when she's out in town and everything, and all of that stuff adds up. It's kind of ridiculous.
Maps offline. She needs to get off that and put it offline. If she's
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to just do it when I'm in town. We're in 2014, and I'm still counting bits. That's ridiculous.
I remember
Verizon wants it. Go for it.
When 4G came around and everyone said the exact same thing. Now you're just going to burn through your data faster. And I can't necessarily say that's the case. It's still based on what are you doing? Do you know you're streaming Pandora and Spotify and Google Music or whatever? Do you really have to do that right now? Turn it off.
I would agree with that, Ann, except for one thing, is that now video has become more of a platform than audio was then. Audio was the big thing, right? Streaming music.
True.
I get to stream now. It's YouTube and videos and Vines and
podcasts.
And even downloading podcasts, but even downloading the videos on Instagram and Vine are bigger than streaming it, So you are eating more, but now imagine we can watch HD video like our show here over our phone and device because we have the better bandwidth. If you have the device that has the
somebody has to step in and fix the whole cap bandwidth thing. So at some point it's gonna get just completely out of control, and it'll need to get fixed.
So out of all of us here, right? What do we got? How many we got? 5 of us. How many of you have pretty much built yourself a Wi-Fi point-to-point? I call it a tunnel, where you can connect to numerous Wi-Fis as you go from house to work to lunch to job, where you barely use data anymore. You're always on somebody's Wi-Fi.
I have unlimited still, so I don't have to.
That's not
I
the point.
can't do that because of my commute, But again, once I hit the parking lot, boom, I'm off.
I'm telling you, there's people on the way that are open Wi-Fi, and if you take your time, you could be jumping Wi-Fi all the way to work.
How do you find the handoff? Does the handoff work about as smooth as a cell handoff?
In some areas, it works
Once
pretty
you
well.
have them saved, right? You have to have them all saved with their passwords and all that crap. But once that, it would probably work all right.
It's just funny, It's just it's funny, but I mean, it's amazing to see even going through downtown. Well, just when I'm walking around at lunch, how I can go through walking around most downtown because you frequent places and not really use the data there, and I'm jumping on and off people's Wi-Fi's the whole way I walk through.
But that's also now you got to put a little trust in those that nobody's sniffing packets and man-in-the-middle SSL stripping you and getting all your banking credentials if you were to check a bank balance on somebody else's Wi-Fi.
I never do that, so I'm not stupid.
I'm just saying.
If you want my Instagram, have at it. I could care less. I'm talking about I don't do banking on it unless I'm on my network or my work network. I never do banking. So yeah, that's good for our people. Unless I'm on my work's network or I'm at my home network, I never do banking stuff.
Right.
Make sure everything that you've done is, SSL if you're using a browser. Most apps encrypt their own stuff transmission-wise. Some of them can be hacked, like WhatsApp had a hack a long time ago, but most of them using some sort of encryption. If you're doing heavy security stuff like trading stocks as you walk around, that's your own dumb fault. You should use your own hotspot and connect directly out and not be on Wi-Fi's.
You're probably not worried about your data cap if you're doing stock trading, unless, of course, you're not very good at it.
Or
Then
you're using penny stocks. Yeah, one of the two.
I'd be Googling the nearest 14th story window to jump out of. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. They say that they're talking about the LTE multicast technology. It was first demonstrated at CES last year. Did we see that?
It was there. We didn't see it.
Like, oh, is that Verizon? Nope. It says the purpose of the multicast technology is to offer Verizon a way to distribute video to large numbers of people over the network. Multicast is a more efficient way to distribute video since the same video feed can be pushed out to multiple smartphones and tablets at the same time rather than streaming it for each device that requests it. They say in this way it's more like broadcast TV, which transmits one feed to many devices rather than a one-to-one relationship of the traditional cell services.
It's like RTP that used to be inside transmissions for like webcasts and stuff. It's a one stream out, not worried about incoming. Broadcast only, it doesn't look for response acknowledgement packets. Doesn't care who's listening, it just sends it.
Is this just obvious though? Like, shouldn't you have been doing it? That just seems like the obvious way that you should have been doing it. Like, why would you stream each individual thing? If 10 people in this want the same thing, just like dupe it and be done.
Again, planned obsolescence. Get you to get over your day with a cap.
Well, either way, you're counting data, right?
Right.
I don't think that matters.
I don't think people before were actually watching enough of the same streams for them to be able to do it, or even technology want to spend the time to do it.
So it makes sense for events like this, right, where there's going to be and they're saying that at the Indy 500, they're going to have all of these cameras that people can watch footage from inside the race cars, from along the track. Like, they're going all out with this, it sounds like. So that'll be kind of interesting.
I'd love to see that down at World Cup.
Yeah, well, and they say that Verizon has already started lining up other media partners for it, like, of course, the NFL. The NFL Now, you familiar with that? Like Google Now, but it's NFL Now. Okay.
Yeah, they're trying to do big stuff in the stadiums now. They're trying to do multi-camera angled. Once you walk in and you're on that network, you can do just about anything you want to do in terms of connecting up to see different aspects of the game at different angles and stuff.
And of course, for their test on Sunday, it only will work with enhanced Samsung Galaxy Note 3 smartphones and a few demo tablets that have embedded multicast chips and firmware.
Oh, so let me get...
none of you are going to be able to get it.
Everyone will be walking around like this.
Right? Watch me multicast.
Right, and, or like no, and picture this. No one will have headsets, so everyone's going to be like this.
That Larry Press joining us.
Hey guys, sorry to be late.
37 minutes into the show. How you doing, Larry?
Okay, man, it's better than 38. Sorry about that.
Better than 38.
I'll agree with that. No worries, man. Just talking about the new Verizon mobile test they're going to do at the Indy 500.
Oh, wow.
Let's talk a little security. All you guys on eBay, have you changed your passwords? eBay is the next to get hit, having names, addresses, email address, phone numbers, birth dates, and, of course, encrypted passwords just plucked right out of their little database.
I must have been off the grid today because I just saw this a few minutes ago. I was like, oh, crap.
Well, don't change it yet, Ant. I've been buying stuff under your name all night.
Just make
it, sir.
Place it in. They say that their financial info, like credit card numbers and other sensitive data, like PayPal accounts, of course, are kept in a separate encrypted database.
Those are in the other server. The other server, not the one they hit. It's in the other. It's in the cloud. It's in our Google Drive.
So you can expect hackers to dip back in and get that database probably within the next couple weeks.
I was really worried about this story until I read the part about PayPal not being affected. Because I use eBay almost not at all.
Yep.
But I use PayPal pretty regularly.
Well, crap. Now I need to go look, don't I?
Now it's important news. Got it.
It says, according to the statement from eBay, intruders compromised employees' accounts first and used their access to get the data they really wanted. They discovered the breach about 2 weeks ago, but the actual attack took place, back in late February.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of these late, reports. Like same thing with Target. Like, didn't the event occur like a couple months before they actually announced it or something?
That's how it always goes, though, right? Always trying to save face. Can we fix this without announcing it? And then when they get to the part where they actually can't, then they're like, oh, and by the way, your credit cards are all effed.
Yeah,
so
we lost 2 billion credit card accounts. Sorry about that.
But here's a gift card.
You should have already changed it because of Heartbleed, right? You should have already changed your password everywhere anyway.
Right.
If it was in February, I'm saying by now you should have changed it due to other things that have transpired at that site.
Right. Yeah, if you're,
But
listen, since February, I should have changed my passwords 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And true. How many people out there are actually using the same username and/or password for like multiple things? So that's also an issue. So.
Well, I'll tell you, my girlfriend was in here when I had this story up, and she's like, "Is that real? Is that legit?" I was like, "Yeah. Why? Do you use eBay?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, do you have the same password everywhere? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, you better go change all of them.
We're going to change some practices.
She asked, how do you remember it? What's the tool? What's the tool? LastPass, right?
1Password, LastPass.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, yeah, I guess LastPass was the one I recommended, but yeah.
So is this where I plug my social identity thing that I did at South by because it fits all this model right now? Is this where I plug this, Matt?
Go ahead, man.
Really enough. It's on YouTube. Go watch it, but it's about isolating your banking, finance, credit, and health separate from all the social crap. Not the content you share, but the actual identities behind the scenes you use. Security questions, passwords. It's a 20-minute thing of your life to go watch the damn video. So I suggest everybody go watch it.
Nice. We'll throw a link to that in the show notes so people can find it. But that sounds really legit. Like you can't be like all up on Twitter and Facebook talking smack with the same password you're logging into your Wells Fargo or PayPal account with, because eventually somebody's going to come along and figure that out.
Not only the password, the identity stuff too. That's what we're talking about, you know? Like you just said, they got birth dates and all that other stuff. If you're using your real birth date on these networks, you're dumb.
But how do you know when your people's birthdays are?
Dude, when you wish me happy birthday every year, guess what? That's not my real birthday, but I'm so happy you tell me. I don't care.
That's what I'm saying. Now who's the a-hole?
You, because you waited until it said. You waited until Facebook said it's his birthday before no. Mine's
so
fake.
naive.
Mine's fake.
Mine's real. So wish me happy birthday and also send me monies.
Yeah, well, send me money twice if you know my real one and my fake one. Send it twice.
Let's see how that works. Good job, Chris.
Be real.
Now I'm going to question that every time Google tells me it's someone's birthday. I'm going to be like, is it really Google or are you lying to me?
It's not. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm
Legit?
happy with it. And if someone's a jerk on Facebook and they say something like, "I know it's your real birthday," I delete their post. I do not want my identity on the network. There's no reason that you have it on those networks. There's no reason.
That's very paranoid of you, but also legitimate, I'd say.
No, it isolates your real life scenario. If you lost your Facebook account, I'd be upset. Who cares? If I lost my bank account, I think I'd be a little more upset. So I isolate that data.
But is getting your birth date going to allow someone to get into your Facebook account?
Yeah.
It will for reverse engineering.
And no, because also these big services have two-factor. And I just noticed the other day, you don't have to use Facebook's stupid code generator. You can now add that to the Google account authenticator. Yeah. I have my WordPress and my Facebook and, of course, my Google stuff now in one authenticator.
90% of people don't have two-factor. The rest of them, if you get someone's cell phone, it's already logged into Facebook. I've already got your cell phone you use for two-factor. I'm using the same device to two-factor that I use to log into the network.
If you have somebody's cell phone, then why are you even bothering trying to hack anything else? You have their phone. If somebody gets their phone out of their possession, then it's over at that point. That's just like saying, well, I have your laptop. Like, well, okay, if you can't get my hardware, it is game over at that point.
But here's the best part: you won't have my banking or health or finance because I don't even check the email I use for those on that mobile device. I totally isolate that. I talk about that in the video, but I isolate.
If I kick your door down and take your desktop, your $2,500 Mac Pro, and run out with it, I have all of it. So who cares?
Mine, it's like 007 stuff and Get Smart. This will self-destruct.
It will blow up.
So
That's
full
awesome.
of it, dude.
This is not even the real Chris Miller. This is actually a clone. He has multiple clones of himself. And they do
The
different
hologram?
Yeah. Totally secure.
The Chris Milligram? That's awesome. Mike, I had a question when Mike gets back. Larry, I have a question for you. China is banning Windows 8. Is this bad for Microsoft? Like, do they need all of those people, like, for their numbers? Or what do you think about that?
China's banning Windows 8?
Yeah, they're going to forbid the use of Windows 8 in government computers to ensure the security after the shutdown of XP.
They're all deploying, Larry. They're all deploying Windows ME.
SE.
Windows.
That sounds like a propaganda move. You know, it's like that's just to get headlines.
And they think Microsoft's doing something inside the OS, and it's.
Well, I think the UK paid Microsoft for support, so I think this is the cheaper alternative for China.
I think China's malware in the actual chips is conflicting with the Windows 8 malware in the software, and it's just like it's just not working. All right, so that's a non-story. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Google reportedly planning to offer some affordable Wi-Fi gear if you're a business. Are you guys down with this?
Who did they buy?
That's cool.
Small business?
They say the equipment...
So it'll be an open access point for people in your neighborhood, is that?
It says it's heavily subsidized Wi-Fi equipment for small and medium-sized businesses. The effort will reportedly be targeted at places where consumers are likely to visit frequently and want internet access, like restaurants and gyms. The equipment would be offered to the businesses at a substantial discount. So, yeah, I guess, and then they give you ads?
Is it?
The cable companies, like Time Warner Cable, my beloved monopolist ISP, and also Comcast and others, they're really rolling out open Wi-Fi access at their customer sites. And like I went over, there's a school about a block from where I live. I went over there, and there's just super fast Wi-Fi being beamed out. And if you're a Time Warner customer, you're free to use it. That's a phenomenon that's rolling out really fast.
Yeah, I see that all over my area here, but I'm not a Time Warner customer.
You guys ever play with Karma?
You have to be a customer of Comcast or whoever it is, whoever's access point you're sitting next to. But those guys are all rolling them out fast, and it sounds like
everywhere here.
What'd you say, Chris? Have we ever heard of?
You guys tried Karma before?
Tried what?
Karma's the hotspot that you use, and you put it up, and if you connect to someone else's Karma hotspot, it makes you use your Facebook login, but you get free bandwidth from theirs, and then they get back the bandwidth you use. Yeah. So it's sharing free bandwidth hotspots, but the person sharing it doesn't lose any data from it. They're given more data because they had good Karma. So it's the same idea. I think they're giving the small businesses a way to share it, but they're going to generate revenue, probably like you said, ads or other stuff behind the scenes, right?
I'm not sure why.
Oh. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm not sure why Google's getting into this business. I mean, aren't there any number of equipment manufacturers that provide this equipment already that you can install? I'm thinking of the Linksys and Cisco's and those manufacturers.
Yeah, but my guess is that I didn't read the Google thing, but it's probably like the Time Warner deal, that they're really trying to give their, they're just trying to get more open access points, more
out in the field.
Out in the field, and so they're subsidizing that. It's not that. I doubt if they're using their own equipment. They're probably just subsidizing
somebody else's
operation. And Time Warner at least asserts that bandwidth, like if I'm sitting out on the street logged on to your access point, that I'm not taking away from your bandwidth, that we're not sharing a fixed amount of bandwidth. So they assert that it's a completely free deal to the customer.
Yeah, they'd have to have different networks, because if someone on the outside would have free and open access to your network, maybe be able to sniff packets and stuff like that. That could
they also assert that it's totally separate, and there's no way on earth to possibly do that. But they've never met Matt.
Well, I'm just like the new routers. Like ours has a G and then an N and then a separate guest network, and they're all independent of each other. I'm sure there's a way to do some sort of like our packet poisoning or something to get it to think you're on one when you're on the other, because I don't think it's physical antennas, right? It's something in the software or maybe in the NAT that's causing it to say this is its own AP, this is its own AP, even though it's one physical, piece of hardware.
Yeah, you'd have to segment the VLANs, use different subnets, and do some other stuff. Yeah.
But I wonder what they're doing to say that they evidently increased the bandwidth then to
do that.
Yeah,
well, doesn't Comcast do that with all the Wi-Fi routers it gives people?
Yeah, they just give you more bandwidth. They up your bandwidth rating speed. I wonder. This inspires me. I'll put it in the show note or the after show notes. I'm going to walk over to the school. I wonder if they even know that that's happening, or if it's just happening without them even knowing about it. I'm going to check. I'll check it out tomorrow.
Didn't you read the terms of service? It was in there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Didn't you see the little print at the bottom? What was there was a Spanish company that was years ago doing the kind of thing Chris was saying, where they give you a free router as long as you left it open. Does that ring a bell? I can dig up the name of it. But.
It's a cool idea for sure. Let's see, Larry. We got like 10 minutes left. Tell us all about this Comcast stuff you threw in the doc since you were following this.
I just threw stuff. Yeah, the deal with I think the Comcast thing I put. Excuse me, I got like congestion or something. Comcast announced that they, within the next 5 years, will be have rolled out across their whole footprint usage-based billing. Data caps plus so much when you go over your cap, or some form of usage-based billing. I think they said data caps. And that's kind of okay, except there's no competition. So
exactly.
They can just
they can set it
they can do any damn thing they want.
Right.
And I think what's happening, if you look 5 years from now, they're saying 300 or 500 gigabits is your cap per month. And they're saying hardly anybody uses that much. And it's true, most people don't. But 5 years from now, that's not going to seem like much, because we're going to all be doing IPTV in 5 years, and it's going to be higher resolution IPTV. So they're just they're going to have us, basically.
We talked about that.
It's coming.
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the show, how everything is moving more and more into the cloud, and Netflix and everything is getting higher and higher resolution. And the data caps are the only thing not following this trend. It's not growing with the usage because, of course, it's money, money, money. It's that money base. And so is the FCC, though, is going to step in and save us, right?
Yeah, right.
Didn't they get all that solved? We're good, right? Our packets are neutral. Everyone sees this. We're good.
I think what Comcast is doing, they're sitting there saying, whoa, we make a lot of money off of TV, and that's going to all go away, and it's going to all go to the Internet. So we have to keep our revenue we have to raise our Internet prices,
That's business 101, right?
I guess.
Supply and demand, right?
Yeah, I guess, something like that. I don't know what it is.
Why, though?
Usage-based pricing, I think, would be cool if there were competition. Like that thing I told you guys, I think, before, my son in Korea. He's got like 3 major and several minor Internet service providers. He can just switch from one to the other. So the price is dirt cheap,
Yeah, and they fight over the customers and stuff, of course.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully one day it'll be like that, where like the basic connectivity is all this price, and if you want extra special services based on your needs, then cool. But everybody gets this much at this cost, and that's how it is. One day, I should run for FCC chair.
There you go.
Yes.
I'm sure the mustache will help.
It will. It's coming back in nicely. I threw a little Rogaine on there, a little Miracle Grow. I'm expecting greatness. Let's see. Anything else before we get here? Did you guys see the shrug just on every social network in the world? Here, let me show you. If you're unfamiliar with the shrug, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
I have not seen that.
That is the smug shrug, also known as the shruggy. And it's pretty much taken over the internet, so there's that.
I'm going to have to figure out new keystrokes, huh?
Right? I love it, though. It's all like,
Yeah.
Hey guys, just before we go, remember we had talked last week about internet usage. If you want to click on my name, you'll see that I've got a screen share going. So
nice.
According to this, I hunted down in my Comcast menu what my limit is. For Comcast is my internet service provider for those watching the podcast. And so basically, my limit is supposed to be 250 gigs per month, but it says that limit is suspended. I'm not sure what that means. Apparently, there is no limit right now, but this is how much my usage is every month. So it's about a gig or a terabyte basically last month, and I'm working on, I guess, a terabyte for, oh no, anyways, this is the last 2 months. I just want to point that out. Like, we'd mentioned last episode, we didn't know exactly where the stuff was. It took me a while. I found mine, so I'm using 500 to a terabyte, 500 gigs to a terabyte.
Were you on vacation in February or something?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe they didn't.
He was not home.
I did the same thing after our talk. And mine was way less than that, but there are only 2 people in our house.
Yeah, I have 8. So, and they're all watching Netflix and YouTube.
But the thing that struck me, I had about 4 months data, and it varied like hell. I have no idea why.
I couldn't find anything on mine. I looked, and the next thing that I could do was look into the router itself, and even that didn't have much of a nice breakdown like what you have here, Nick.
Yeah, I had to go into details. Go on.
I ended up finding it in my Netgear. It wasn't turned on, so I turned it on after the show. So here's what it's kind of showing, just since it's been running, which was like a couple weeks, I think. But kind of see averages, traffic here in megabytes and everything. So I use a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Time Warner gives it to you day by day too, like this.
Oh yeah, this isn't from my ISP. This is just from Netgear.
This is from your, yeah.
Apparently, there's a Netgear router firmware upgrade available.
Please don't kick that right now. Don't.
Right now? Should we try it right now? And that'll be it for the show as the router reboots and drops the whole damn network. Thanks for listening.
Hey, I actually got logged in to my page. I didn't know I even knew my own password. How do I find this?
It was admin.
So?
Or admin password. Try either of those.
Oh, I've got a. You know what? They give you a cloud drive at Charter. Did you guys? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would gladly put all of my information on my ISP's cloud. I mean,
holding you hostage.
I'm Charter now too.
Holding
we
you
got
hostage.
Bresnan, and then Optimum bought Bresnan, and then Charter bought Optimum, and now we're Charter. Are they good?
They were fine when they were here in this area.
Nice.
How do I find out what I'm using? I don't even see where to.
Traffic meter. And while Chris figures that out, I think we're going to end the show. Thanks for listening. Yet another Texture.com. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. If you find us on there, happen to have a sec, give us a review. We appreciate that, as always. Chris Miller, SpikedStudios.com, traveling around the world in the search for
Just find me as I do notes on everything.
Or that. But also Spiked Studio.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying to make life easy.
But you won't find his real birthday.
And find, yeah, right? If you can find his real birthday, he will give you a free Chromebook. Yeah, Pruitt, Mr. Point and Shoot Smartphone Photographers community on Google Plus. You guys got to hang out tomorrow. What was the contest this week?
This week's contest was shooting silhouettes. So you're going to have some spooky shots out there, and you're going to have some nice peaceful shots out there. It's pretty good stuff.
Nice. Always a cool site. The pictures there are just fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Larry Press has a blog. We'll put a link to it in the show notes at yetanothertexture.com. Mike Rothman, you got any articles coming up you want to mention?
Just follow me at That Works For Me, and you'll find all my stuff.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys next week. Have a great
Good night.